He put on his big boy pants and made a decision. Hi, my name is Lacey, and this is Sweet Tea, and we are here recapping episodes 12 and 13 of Love Island UK Summer 2023. And I also have recapped all of the other episodes, real episodes, not unseen bits and not After Sun. So if you haven't caught up on those, go catch up, and I'll see you back here. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing and like my recap. And T says thank you in advance. Subscribe so you can see more Sweet Tea. So we ended last episode in a fight between Tyreek and Ella. While Ella wants to be Tyreek's number one and only, Tyreek will not be pressured into making decisions until he is good and ready. Sassy. Jess and Sammy have a conversation, and I still don't like Sammy. Jess calls it out and says that she feels like an option. He doesn't seem to look at her or pay attention when she's talking. And he's like, no, I have a better connection with you than anybody. However, I do think Leah is pretty and I do want to get to know her. However, our connection with Sammy and Jess is stronger. Whitney and Catherine pull Jess aside and say that she should have picked Molly in the game when she said oh, it was two-faced or something like that. And Jess is like, no, I don't think Molly's two-faced. I just think she did Mitchell wrong. And it's like, well, that kind of means you think she's a little two-faced, so maybe you should have done it and just been flat out about it. But I mean, Tyreek has also been two-faced, but I mean, I don't know, whatever. But Jess doesn't feel like, she feels kind of ganged up on, and she feels overwhelmed, and she starts crying. And she's not mad at either of the girls. She just feels overwhelmed, and she cries and walks away. And she's like, I can't right now. Mehdi sees this, and then he pulls Whitney. And Mehdi has the gall to say that if his girl is involved in drama, he doesn't want any part of it. And Whitney's like, what? What are you even talking about? You know nothing of the situation, so shut your mouth and maybe pay attention to somebody who was actually involved. So this ends badly because he doesn't listen, and so they part ways in this weird, tense awkwardness. Jess comes over to Whitney and Catherine later, and they squash it, and everything's fine, and the girls have no issues. Everybody's good on that front. Sam is talking to Leah, and they're talking about the kiss and the challenge. Sammy says something like, when I take you up to the terrace, and that kind of insinuates that he's going to make moves, because that's kind of where people have their first kisses, on the terrace. So it insinuates that Sammy and Leah are going to be a thing, and I'm like, Sammy, I don't like him. Everybody goes to bed, and it is the next morning. Leah and Tyreek are in bed, and Charlotte had a teddy bear, and Tyreek says to Leah, oh, you don't have toys? And she goes, no, I don't have a teddy bear. And he said, so you don't use toys? I don't need toys. And I think he was trying to make it sexually flirty, and she wasn't biting. And Ella was just laying there what are you doing, dude? Ella and Leah talk, and Ella seems to talk down Ty a little bit, saying, oh yeah, he's just self-sabotaging now. He's not really into you. And I'm like, that may be true. It may not be true, Ella. Don't speak out of turn just because you're mad. Mehdi and Whitney have a chat about how Mehdi was not happy about the Whitney, Jess, Catherine situation. And it's like, Mehdi, mind your business. And Whitney is trying to explain it hey, you didn't even ask me. And Mehdi's like, oh, let me finish. And it's like, bitch, please, you let her finish. She was involved and you were not. And Mehdi ends this conversation with this little sassy comment that was unwarranted. He says, well, next time you make somebody cry, I'll come to you direct first. Excuse me? The sass is strong with this one, and it is unwarranted. Jess hears wind of this fight between Mehdi and Whitney, and that it was essentially over Jess. And so Jess is like, wait, what happened? Oh, I'm gonna fix this. So she stands up for Whitney, and goes over to Mehdi and is like, why are you mad at her? No, that is not the case. So you back off of her and we are fine. She did nothing wrong. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And so he backed down from this because Jess said it was okay. He should have listened to Whitney. There's a challenge called She's a Keeper, in which the girls have to do a little dribbling of a soccer ball, and then they have to give a red card to somebody who's in trouble, one of the guys who's in trouble, and then they have to block some goals with the soccer balls, and then they have to kiss one of the guys. who did not get the red card. So the red card is off on the bench. On the bench. So Leah gives her red card to Tyreek and smooches Sam. Just not Sam. Molly gives the red card to Mitchell and kisses Zachariah. Whitney gives the red card to Meddy. Good girl. And kisses Zachariah because she wanted to hear what the fuss was about. Catherine gives the red card to Zachariah. Deserved. And kisses Andre. Charlotte gives Tyreek the red card and kisses Zachariah because she's very into him. Jess gives Tyreek the red card because she's standing up for Ella and smooches Sam. And lastly, Ella gives Tyreek the red card and also smooches Zachariah. Molly's not happy. And everybody's like, ooh, Zachariah got a lot. He's just being used by all these women to get back at these guys. Ooh. And it also hurts Molly in the process, so it's a little win-win. Except Zachariah gets kissed. He doesn't deserve it. Ty is bummed that Ella kissed Zachariah, but he understands it because he knows he done did it. Jess is worried about Sam. Leah kissed Sammy because she was returning the kiss energy from the previous game, and Sammy was really into Leah's kiss, so Jess should be worried. Jess and Leah talk, and Jess is trying to suss out where Leah's head's at, and Leah's like, yeah, I wouldn't have kissed him if he didn't seem open or flirty, so, you know, we're just kind of seeing where it goes. The guys pick a winner of the challenge, and the winner is Jess, and that means that she gets a text and gets to go on a date with brand new bombshell Scott. Scott is a 22-year-old football player from North Wales. He has blue eyes, and he says he is ready to cause some trouble. I really like them together. When Jess goes on the date with Scott, he says that he's been single for 4 years, and then he's had one long-term relationship that lasted about 10 months. He's looking for something serious. Back at the villa, Meddy apologizes to Whitney for jumping to conclusions, for not listening to her side of the story, and she's like, keep going, keep going, keep going. What are you, all of the apologies, please, all of them. And he keeps going, and she's like, okay, but this is a step back, but I accept your apologies, so you gotta have to work a little bit harder now. Tyreek and Leah are talking, and he actually breaks it off with Leah. He's like, you know what, this was just flirting, so my head is with Ella, and I am going to break it off and focus all my attention on her now. He put on his big boy pants and made a decision. While Jess is on the date, Sammy takes this opportunity to swoop in on Leah and chat with her for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something, the girls said, while Jess is on her date. So Sammy's making moves. He didn't waste any time. Sammy says he has more sexual tension with Leah, but the personality is more with Jess. But he did say that he won't waste his time on Leah without her okay. So he's kind of sussing her out and seeing if she's into him because he won't risk his place with Jess. Jess knew it. She called it. She said she was a placeholder and for him, and here we are. Tyreek and Ella have a conversation, and he tells Ella that he broke things off with Leah, that she's his number one, and that he's going to focus all of his energy on her. Ella, sweet girl. Ella smiles for the first time in like what seems like a week, and she lights up and she's like, this is everything I wanted, and they smoochy smooch, and I feel bad for this girl because once Casa Amor comes, he's going to be putting himself to the test, if you catch my drift. And that ends episode 12. So now, well, not now, but so then the UK got to vote for their favorite girl and favorite guy. And then we shall see in this episode, episode 13, the result of that vote. So here we go. There's so much. So Sam is still with Leah while Jess is on her date with Scott. And they've been talking for quite some time. And something like, Sammy said something like, I'm sweet, you should eat me. And I was like, the fuck? Ew. Ew, no, gross, Sammy. Jess and Scott come back from their date and they hold hands a little bit, but once they come into the villa, they're not holding hands. And Jess and the girls talk and Scott and the guys talk. And Jess, sadly, for me, and for Jess probably in the future, Jess is more into Sammy than she is into Scott. And that sucks because I liked Scott better than Sammy, 100%. Leah tells Jess that Sammy said he was open to getting to know Leah while Jess was gone. So I think that Leah is actually kind of letting Jess know, like, hey, this is what he's doing, so I'm just letting you know where we're at, so you know where I'm at. I appreciate that. Scott pulls Catherine for a chat, and they are hitting it off and talking about Dublin and about traveling, and I kind of like them together, so we'll see. I feel like I feel like Andre is a little too young for Catherine. I feel like she's more mature, more put together, and she needs a more mature guy for that. Not that Andre's immature, because Lord knows there have been worse. But I just feel like she needs more of a mature guy who has life experience. Whitney and Ella tell Jess that Sam was talking to Leah almost the entire night while she was gone. So it could be nothing, it could be something, just something to keep an eye on. And I appreciate them for giving her a heads up, even though I think she already knew, but I do appreciate them for looking out for Jess while she was gone. Jess and Sammy catch up. Jess said she had a good date and that she teases Sammy for talking to Leah for 2 hours. And he's like, it wasn't actually 2 hours, it was only an hour and a half. But I was still thinking of you the entire time. And she buys it. And then she says that she was essentially thinking of Sammy the entire time and that Scott isn't for her. And I am bummed about this news because I liked her and Scott together. I don't like Sammy. I don't like him for anybody. Mitchell pulls Jess for a chat and is asking how the date went, and Jess is telling Mitchell, like, oh yeah, he's not for me, I'm still kind of with Sammy. And Mitchell decides to tell Jess that he's into her and he wants to get to know her romantically. Where did that come from? No, we know where that came from. That came from him not having any more options, because nobody's really into Mitchell because he's too much. I like the guy, but he's too much and a little delusional and a little white knighty, and he just needs to chill. So Jess is like, what? I feel like you just are saying that because I'm your only other option. And he's like, well, no, I like you, so Jess doesn't buy it though. Jess knows what's up. Scott and Leah are talking. They're both saying how they want somebody with a big personality. She's not it. They're talking about going hiking and camping, which sounds fun. They're doing maintenance outside my door, the drilling. While Jess is telling Ella and Whitney about Mitchell's weird confession, Mitchell is telling the guys about it, and Sammy's like, what? You could have just told me, like, by myself. You didn't need to tell the whole group that you're making moves on Jess. Pull me aside and tell me, just me, like, hey, I'm making moves on Jess. But Mitchell tells everybody he's making moves on Jess, and everybody's like, be real, be for serious, because this is not for serious, Mitchell. I think Sammy is feeling a little threatened now, because when Sam and Jess talk again, his hand is on her knee. He has his hand on her knee, and she's like falling into it, and she's saying like, I only see you first, and I'm upset about this. New day. All the girls are talking. And Jess likes Sam over Mitchell. The guys are talking. Tyreek is just for Ella, and he says this is make Ella smile day. I like that. Scott says he's going to be talking to everybody, but he definitely wants to pull Molly. And Zachariah's like, well, you're a bombshell. You have to bombshell, so get to bombing. Dudes are going to dude. Tyreek enlists Meddy's help in making Ella breakfast, and he tells her that he's going to make her smile all day, and she's very pleased and excited about the change in Tyreek. For now, Scott and Catherine have another talk, and they're still hitting it off, and I think she's kind of into it. She says he's giving, so I'm assuming that she's into him, and I'm kind of rooting for this a little bit. Jess tells Mitchell that she feels like his last resort, and she's into Sam, and Mitchell's like, okay. That night, Scott and Ella are talking, and Ella's telling Scott that it would need to be something major for her to turn her head, but she does find him attractive and she does want to chat with him. And then Ella goes to tell Tyreek this, and she says, hey, I want to get to know him. And Tyreek throws a fit. And he's like, well, I give you 48 hours. That's how long you guys gave me. No, sir. That's how long you took. And you were going to take as long as you wanted. And you made that perfectly clear that nobody was going to tell you what to do. So how dare you tell Ella what to do and give her a time limit? It goes both ways, son. Scott and Catherine have another talk. This is number 3. And they are hitting it off again. But in the middle of the conversation, there's a text, and everybody has to go to the fire pit. And here we get the results of the vote. So the bottom 3 guys, and up for elimination, are Sammy, Zachariah, and Andre. I really hope it's Sammy. I don't think it will be, but I hope it's Sammy. The bottom 3 girls are Catherine, Charlotte, and Leah. And it kind of sucks that the new girls are in it, because I don't feel like they had that much time to get to know anybody or get much airtime except for Leah. Charlotte was like barely in it. And I haven't seen Andre and Catherine forever, so, well, no, I just saw Catherine with Scott, but I haven't seen Andre in forever. So one of each are leaving. We have one of the guys leaving and one of the girls leaving. The guys have to pick the girl that's leaving, and the girls have to pick the guy that's leaving. They discuss. Molly fights for Zachariah, obviously, and Jess fights for Sammy. And they kind of say that Andre doesn't really have a connection here. He is with Catherine, and they are connecting, but it's not like a super strong connection. So it seems like the writing's on the wall for Andre. The guys discuss Catherine and Andre, and they want to keep Catherine, but they're also not sure that the girls are going to keep Andre. But Scott says that he wants to get to know Catherine. So there's that, regardless of whether the girls keep Andre or not. And then Mitch wants to keep Leah because he wants to get to know her. Mitch, babe, Mitch, booby, there's no chance. And they also compliment Charlotte for being open in the process, even though we haven't seen much of her. So ultimately, the girls pick Andre to go home. Not surprising. And the guys pick Charlotte to go home. Again, not surprising. Because there just wasn't really anybody in here for Charlotte. She wants kids. And you're going to have these little boys making moves in Casa Amor. They're not ready for kids. Even after the kids' day. Come on now. You need a grown man, Charlotte. Go get one. Andre, you sweet thing. You sweet thing. Go date and have fun. You're young. Go date. Go date everybody and have fun. So that is it for my recap of episodes 12 and 13. What did you think of this week? Do you think the right two people went home? Do you think the right people are coupled up? What do you think about Scott, the new bombshell? Leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts on Love Island. And also, if you didn't know, I am doing reviews of Love Island, Love Always, Temptation Island, and The Big D. So if you're into any of those shows, or you're just curious, go check out my recaps and let me know what you think about those. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time.